are back on Inside Politics today. Our guests, Larry Woods, Democratic analyst, and Bill Phillips, Republican analyst. We're talking about the aftermath of the 2020 election, what that means for the Republican Party, and we'll talk about the Democrats as well. Bill, I don't think you were a Trump voter in 2016. I doubt you were in 2020 either. Given where the party is today and seems to be headed, do you still feel comfortable in the Republican Party? Is there still room in there for the Bush Republicans, the Reagan Republicans, or for that matter, even the Lincoln Republicans?
Well, I was a part of the 3 percenters way back, and that was with H.W. Bush when his name recognition was 3%. And so I still consider myself a Bushy. But I also feel like the Republican Party has the ability, if it so desires, to include a lot of views, and I have not given up on the party. It's at the local level and at state level, it's strong. And when you look at the nation across the nation, and it's going through some rough times, but sometimes the rough times produce the best in the end.
Larry, we talked about party registration in the first block. I wonder if people here in Tennessee wonder about that. We don't register that way, so it's hard to tell whether we're having any Republicans moving over. Our elected leaders that are Republicans don't seem to be that way, from the governor to and all the members of our congressional delegation are Republican or strongly behind Donald Trump. Is the schism or whatever's going on in the Republican Party that Tennessee's not taking part in?
I think Tennessee remains basically a Republican state for at least the next 15 years, maybe longer. We Democrats are working hard to change that, but the numbers, as you were just outlining, are very much against us. We only hold 2 congressional seats. We've not won a statewide election since, I guess, Governor Bredesen re-election in 2006. And so we've got some very large hills and mountains to climb here. Nationally, I mean, Biden's got a popularity rate of 62%. I think a lot of young people in Tennessee and across the nation are going to be affected by that. We're going to see a lot more young people grow up thinking, gee, I need to be a Democrat. Look how well Biden's doing. That'll help.
Bill, in some ways, this fight in the Republican Party seems to be kind of ill-timed. I mean, they lost control of the White House, but it's still a 50-50 split in the Senate, and you picked up votes in the House. It would seem you have a pretty good shot in the 2020 election, perhaps, to take the House and maybe even go back and control in the Senate. So why be fighting?
Well, politics is a lot of infighting from time to time, no matter what party you're in. You have people that feel very strongly about their individual positions. They find common beliefs among other people, and they start trying to get control. And when you get down to politics, it's about who's going to be able to drive the machine. And so there's never a good time for a party to go through this.
Larry, you said several times that Joe Biden's doing such a great job, and the voters did elect him president, but he's trying to do things on immigration. He's talking to do things about the virus. Why didn't the public and the voters give him more members of his own party in these 2 houses of Congress? Because he didn't have much coattails to help himself get these things passed in Congress.
Well, longer coattails would have helped, no question about it. Plus, as we all know, President Biden selected several members of the House of Representatives to join his cabinet. That's not helping in terms of a secure majority for the Democrats in the House of Representatives. But, immigration is a very divisive issue with maybe 30% of the country. I think as Biden does super well on the pandemic, on infrastructure, on getting the economy, keeping the economy moving, I think that's all going to happen in the next year and a half. I think his success on those issues is going to carry over and help him on the more divisive issues like immigration. Plus, Biden's smart. He's constantly pointing out, no, I'm not for defunding the police. He's not for these, bright line, blow up the House issues. And that's going to help him with the American public in general.
To both of you, one of the first things President Biden is trying to get done is pass a $1.9 trillion relief package for the virus. He suffered a blow when the Senate parliamentarian ruled that he could not consider in the Senate any idea of raising the minimum wage to $15. Bill, is that a fatal blow? Or does that make it easier for the president? He had some people in his own party who were against it. So is something going to pass? And Larry, I want to get your ideas about that too.
I don't think it's a fatal blow. I'm not sure if it should have been in there or not. But I believe the leadership is seeing the need to take a strong position on helping people get through this pandemic, whatever that may take in terms of helping individuals, but also getting the vaccine to the people and it into arms. And it's just time for them to put aside these petty arguments and move forward, and let's get this country back on track.
What do you think, Larry?
I agree with much of what Bill just said. You know, we're united about the pandemic. There are no political parties when it comes to good health here. We're united on we want the economy to keep moving, be vibrant, and grow. And that's why the $1.9 trillion is going to pass. On the minimum wage, you know, maybe Biden winds up having to compromise and ask for a $12 minimum wage. I don't know what gets the correct count going on that. What I do know is, you know, I grew up every job I worked was minimum wage growing up until I graduated from school, kind of thing. And, you know, if you factor in inflation, the minimum wage that I benefited from in the 1960s, if you factored in inflation, it would be $20 an hour today. It was enough money kids could work to pay their way through college. You can't do that anymore in this economy. We've got to change that.
Larry Woods is our guest. He's a Democratic analyst, along with Bill Phillips, Republican analyst. We're talking about the aftermath of the 2020 election. To continue that conversation on the other side of this break. Stay with us.